Hi everyone, we're looking around these great classic vehicles and custom vehicles as well, but I couldn't help to notice this Lotus Esprit, and we're here today with Phil, isn't it?
It is.
Yep. Hi Phil, how you doing? You okay?
Yeah, fine, thank you.
Yep. And right, first of all, everybody knows what this is, but people who don't, explain to us what this car is.
This is a Lotus Turbo Esprit. The colour is known as Copper Fire, which is a Lotus colour, but I've done it so it replicates the James Bond car from For Your Eyes Only. And I've mounted the skis that we used in the film. They're the correct skis that James Bond, the proper Olin Mark 6 ones, which were very difficult to find. They're 40 years old now. And it's just the same, and it goes to a lot of shows, and I've even, if you look closely, I've even put a false number plate on it, so it's the same as James Bond.
Okay, right, let's have a quick look round at the front of the vehicle. So is this I can remember the film, but is this the one that he actually blew up in the film when there's people chasing him, or was that the other one? Was the white Lotus, wasn't it?
The first Lotus Esprit that was used in James Bond film was what is known as an S1, which is a slightly earlier version of this, and it's the car that went under the water, if you remember, turned into a submarine. But that was from a previous film, whereas this one is For Your Eyes Only. And if you look on the little display I've got on the windscreen there, he had a white one the same as this, and that blew up. And then he came back in the film later on with this Copper Fire one with the skis mounted.
Yep. And with this one is obviously a turbo.
Yeah.
Some people like the non-turbo version, but me personally, I like the turbo version. So it's a great looking car. Anyway, with the colour combinations, and I like the wheels that go with the car as well, because that's period correct as well with the film as well.
Yeah, these are the early cars, or some of the early cars had these wheels, which are compomotive wheels, three-piece split rims. The later cars had single-piece BBS wheels, but to look at, similar, but they are different. And earlier cars had these ones.
Yeah. And with the actual body shell as well, you're not going to rust, because this is not metal, is it?
No, fiberglass. Whole car is fiberglass, galvanised chassis. I don't with a car of this age, which is now 43 years old, this one. I'm not fighting rust all the time, so which is a huge bonus.
That's it, and that's it. And with like say a car of this age and period, that cars are prone to rust, and especially it's a beautiful day today, but with the salt, the snow and the rain and stuff like that, they do rust and that. So
Absolutely.
Is this an all-weather car you just taken out?
No, absolutely stays at home. Sunny days only. Of course you get caught out occasionally in the rain, but it always gets dried off and put away nicely at the end of it. But it's sunny days and dry days only.
Right. Is there any chance to have a look just inside it at all? Yeah. And I notice, well, with these, the handbrake is actually on the right hand side, isn't it?
Yeah. That's. I don't know. They're all on the right hand side. I think it's because of the size. To put it in the middle, you sit very, very low in the car, and therefore it's very difficult to mount a handbrake in the traditional central column, central piece. Don't know what you call it. So it's mounted on this side, but the cables just run through on the underside, and on these cars, the disc brakes. If you look underneath, the disc brakes are mounted inboard, right next to the gearbox. Because you've got the engine and the gearbox, and they're mounted inboard, so the cables run all the way to the centre of the car. But it's just a typical traditional handbrake. It's just slightly different mounted, that's all.
And what is it like getting in and out of it? Because obviously that's where your feet go. What was it like getting in and out of it?
It's absolutely fine. But to be honest, I'm 56 now, and every year that gets by, it's a little bit harder to get out. It's not so bad getting in, but getting out, you roll out.
And I noticed as well, because you've got the centre console, it's quite high up, and you've got it's a manual gearbox and that. But it looks like a really nice seating position. You're right down to the ground. It's like a go-kart, really, isn't it?
It is. It's actually surprisingly comfortable to drive. It's obviously it's a 40-odd-year-old car, and therefore it's not like a modern car now, but the seats are incredibly comfortable. I have a modern car, obviously, and these are more comfortable than that. It really is. It's a nice drive, actually. Yeah.
And obviously, because it's now a classic vehicle now, so the actual, regards to like running costs and stuff like that, obviously you got like classic insurance and stuff like that as well. What is like for actual parts? Are they quite easy?
Fairly easy. There are 2 or 3 suppliers now around the UK, and there are parts being remanufactured. There are 1 or 2 bits and pieces that you can't get, But slowly, it's the hard to find bits. People are redoing them, so keeping it on the road is quite easy, to be honest with you. And of course, Lotuses from this period, they were often built up from using parts from major manufacturers. Yeah. So you've just got to understand. You could buy a brake disc could fit this, but it could also fit a full Cortina. Yeah. For example, it does. It's not the case, but that sort of thing. So parts are quite easy, really. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So if you just close the door up and that, and with obviously that's your the boot, isn't it? Really, which is at the front. Because obviously it's rear engine, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I've got just the brake master cylinder in there. There's a spare wheel in there. One or two other little bits, but in mid-engined engine here, gearbox further back. Unfortunately, I can't lift it with the skis on, so I can't show you.
No, I was going to say, I was going to say lift it up, but then obviously because of the skis, you just can't. No. So don't worry about that at all. No. So with this, obviously, because it's a tribute replica to the actual James Bond car, I bet when there's a James Bond film being released, you get people saying, come to this event, go to that event. And
well, funnily enough, a few weeks ago, I was at the James Bond Club of Great Britain. They had an event at the Concord Conference Centre up near Manchester Airport, and there was a white one and some Aston Martins and things, and they were all parked under Concord, and we had a big charity do for UNICEF, which is a charity that Roger Moore was an ambassador for. Yeah. So it's great do.
Excellent. It's nice to see the whole selection of different cars as well lined up from the different James Bond films as well.
Yeah. It was really, really good do. Yeah.
Okay. So let's have a quick look round the back as well. So with this, if I, again, just echoing back to the actual James Bond film, is this didn't have any sort of gadgets like it did on the first one, did it? Or did it on from the film?
This particular car in the film didn't have any traditional James Bond gadgets or, ejector seats or anything like that. No, the only thing is it had these skis.
Yeah.
And this car actually was, I think it only appeared on 3 shots for quite short periods in the film. But that was enough.
Yeah. Because I can remember it wasn't in the whole film, but just part of the film, wasn't it? Yeah. So if anybody, because how long have you owned this vehicle?
I've owned this one about 8 years, I think, something like that, 8 or 9. Not sure, to be honest.
Yeah. And with this, was it actually like this when you got it, or did you?
More or less. I mean, it's the same colour, same condition. All the maintenance. I've done the ski racks and I found the skis. But all the maintenance and that I do myself. Yeah, all virtually everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I like about these as well is obviously you got the pop-up headlamps. So I just love all that. I'm 50-year-olds. I'm a 50-year-old guy now, and I'm from the 80s and that, and all the pop-up headlights. I love all that stuff. So
unfortunately, they don't allow them to do anymore.
Don't they?
No, I think it's the EU came in with some rule for whatever reason. They don't allow pop-up headlights anymore. But yeah, they're fantastic, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And if anybody is actually going to be thinking about purchasing one of these, is there anything particular they need to look out for when actually looking at for a Lotus?
Yeah, all sorts of things. You've got the thing with these cars is you have to use them. If you sit them in the garage for months on end and you start them, you'll have trouble, huge amount of trouble with all sorts of things. And of course you get the traditional phrase, Lotus stands for lots of trouble, usually serious. But to be honest with you, if you use them and you maintain them, there is nothing wrong with them. But if you leave them standing, you'll have problems.
Yeah. See, I heard that saying as well, but I thought I won't say it. I thought I'll wait until you say it before that. So.
Normally on a day like this, I get 10 people say it. But no, if they're absolutely fine as long as you maintain them and you use them.
That's it. Yeah. Well, with me, I've owned classic vehicles before, and it's like what you touched on is exactly right. You've got to use them, and that because with me, I had one vehicle which I owned for 4 years, didn't use it a great deal, and the brake seats and the new refurb master cylinder kit, and it just one pipe start to split and the leak, and it's just one thing after another. Yeah. So you're spot on. You need to use it and that. So
maintain it and use it.
Yeah. So with this, is this the first time you've been to the Great Yarmouth Show? Or?
It is. Yeah. I was going to come last year actually, but funnily enough, it was broken down. But yeah, to be honest with you, I can't remember what the problem was now, but I couldn't come.
Over that.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's first time, and yeah, I've got the opportunity to park here with these other two Lotuses, so which is great. It's a nice little spot and beautiful day. It's great.
Yeah,
great.
yeah. Well, what about,
and we'll be here tomorrow as well.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're going to be wandering around, so we'll come over and say hi. The only thing you've got to watch out for is the seagulls, aren't they? They're quite big and they like swooping down, don't they?
It's already been hit once this morning.
See, yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? So you've got to keep on wiping it over.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's an ideal place. It's got a great selection of different cars, isn't it?
Yeah, I've had a walk around and there's a huge amount of cars. It's really good. Yeah, really good, yeah.
And I don't know about you, but with me, when I go around these events, you see cars that you wanted to get but you couldn't afford, and cars that you did have but then passed on. But you mostly come across that yourself. I certainly have.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. There's all the cars now that are that you see along the street here that are in great condition, and you used to be like, cool, I sold mine for 50 quid, and now they're worth £30,000, you know.
That's it. Well, I saw there's a further up there. This is only a Ford Escort RS Turbo. They're a great classic car, and I had one of those back in 80s, 90s times and that. And I remember I don't know, I almost paid about £3,000 for it. Now they're about 15, 20 grand now.
Huge amounts of money. Some cars now.
Yeah. So, with regards to the actual value of these cars, I know obviously they're different, and with yours being a tribute car, it's going to be more than others. But with these, are they sort of holding their own on the actual market?
In recent times, they've gone up quite significantly. I think at the moment they're probably flatlining-ish. But it's very difficult to say. You know, it's very difficult to. Somebody said, "What is this worth? What do you want for it?" I'd give them a figure, but it would probably be over what it's worth. You know, it's same with anything, isn't it? But it's what you only got to find the one person that really wants it, and they'll pay the money for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's very difficult to know what it's worth, really.
Yeah. But I can tell by talking to you, you still got the passion for the actual vehicle. So I don't think you're going to be selling it soon. No. So you're going to be keeping it for many years to come and that. So yeah.
Not really for sale. No, not at the moment.
No.
One day maybe, but not yet.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time. No, and yeah, it's a great show. And like I say, we're going to be around tomorrow, so we'll come over and say hi. But yeah, thanks a lot.
No problem.
Thanks for your time. Thank you. Okay. Cheers. Thanks. Cheers. Bye.